When you were 7 years old, summer lasted forever. 3 months felt like a lifetime. Every day was full of things you had never done before. And time moved so slowly you could feel every hour. Now you are older, and somehow a year disappears before you notice it started. December arrives, and you genuinely cannot account for where the last 12 months went. It is not your imagination. It is not nostalgia. Time is not actually speeding up, but your experience of it is. And the reason why reveals something extraordinary about how your brain was built. Your brain does not have a clock, not a real one. There is no single region in your brain that tracks time the way a watch tracks seconds. Instead, your brain measures time by counting something else entirely. It counts new experiences, new information, new patterns it has never had to process before. And when you were 7 years old, the entire world was new. Every face, every place, every sensation. Your brain was processing an overwhelming flood of genuinely novel information every single day. And when your brain works hard to encode new things, time feels long, rich, full, slow. Psychologist William James first described this phenomenon in 1890. He called it the proportional theory of time. The basic idea is this. When you are 10 years old, 1 year represents 10% of your entire life. It is a significant fraction of everything you have ever experienced. When you are 40 that same year, represents just 2.5% of your life. Your brain is comparing it against a much larger archive. And proportionally, it feels smaller, shorter, gone before it registered. But the proportional theory only explains part of what is happening. The deeper answer involves something your brain does every single moment of every day without your permission. It compresses. Neuroscientist David Eagleman at Stanford University has spent decades studying how the brain encodes time. His research reveals something that changes how you think about memory and experience entirely. Your brain does not store everything that happens to you. It cannot. The volume of sensory data arriving every second is too enormous to file completely. So it makes decisions. It asks a question about every single moment. Is this new? If the answer is yes, the brain encodes it fully. It builds a rich, detailed memory. It marks the experience as significant. And later, when you look back on that period of your life, it feels long, full of content, full of texture. But if the answer is no, the brain does something very different. It compresses the moment. It files it in a general category. Tuesday, work, same as yesterday. And when you look back on a period full of compressed moments, it feels like almost nothing happened at all. The days blur together, the weeks vanish, the year disappears. This is why your first day at a new job feels exhausting and long. Your brain is encoding everything. The new faces, the new layout, the new rules. Every detail is being processed and stored. But by the 6th month, the same commute, the same desk, the same conversations feel like they take no time at all. Your brain stopped paying attention. It already knows this. It already filed this. Move on. Researcher Marc Wittmann at the Institute for Frontier Areas of Psychology has studied this compression effect in detail. His work shows that the amount of new information your brain encodes in a given period directly determines how long that period feels in retrospect. Not how much time actually passed, but how much your brain had to work. A week in a foreign country you have never visited feels longer in memory than 3 months of routine at home. Not because time moved differently, but because your brain was fully engaged, fully encoding, fully alive to the novelty of every moment. And here is the part that shifts everything. This means the feeling that time is speeding up is not inevitable. It is not just what happens when you get older, it is what happens when your life becomes routine, when the brain stops encountering genuinely new patterns to process. When every day resembles the day before, it closely enough that the compression system decides nothing needs to be stored. The good news is that your brain responds to novelty at any age. Research by neuroscientist Elizabeth Gould at Princeton University showed that the adult brain continues to generate new neurons in the hippocampus, the region most associated with memory formation, well into old age. And the primary trigger for that generation is new experience, new environments, new skills, new challenges. Every time you do something your brain has never processed before you force it back into full encoding mode. The compression switches off. Time slows down. Not because the clock moves differently, but because your brain is working again, paying attention again, building memories again. This is why travel makes time feel longer, why learning a new instrument changes your relationship with weeks and months, why the periods of your life that felt the richest, the fullest, the longest in memory were almost always the periods of the most change. New city, new relationship, new challenge. Your brain was flooded with novelty, and it encoded everything. So when you look back, those months feel like years, and the years feel like they contained entire lifetimes. The summers that lasted forever when you were 7 were not longer because you were young. They were longer because everything was new, because your brain had never seen a summer before, because every day of that summer was being fully encoded in real time. You can have that again, not by being young, but by choosing new routes, new skills, new places, new people. Every genuinely novel experience you give your brain is a moment it cannot compress, a moment it has to pay attention to, a moment that will feel long and full and real when you look back. Time is not speeding up. Your brain is just running out of things it has never seen before. Give it something new, and watch what happens to the years.